I'm going to get a black eye from this mic.
Yeah.
Don't lean
Probably,
forward.
well, maybe
Straight posture.
you should have done that thing to make it so mad.
What's it going to do? Oh, just give me a black eye.
Right. Well,
Why,
yeah.
Yoda?
To the moon, Alice.
If it swings on its own, we had nothing to do with it.
Right.
That's all on you.
Just keep swinging when he bumps his thing. It's there.
I just wanted to say,
Everything in this universe is connected, man.
Conectados.
todos conectados.
Didn't they say that in Time Cop? Like that was everything
Don't
is
look
like.
at me when you ask.
I know, sorry. Yeah.
I'm thinking, and I can't remember for sure, but I would believe it.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was named the Muscles from Brussels, and I thought he was French for the longest time.
Because I was looking at his
With the name like Van
page.
Damme?
Well, no, I mean, I knew he was, Belgian, right? Belgian, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all basically like
But yeah,
pseudo French.
I'm sure he speaks French. I mean, all of them over there
he
speak
does?
like everything. I mean, they all
That's
speak
his accent.
Belgium, they
French
speak like
and-
French, German.
Yeah.
But on
Dutch.
his Wikipedia page,
all of
that's
that.
where the muscles from Brussels
Yeah.
is where I read it, and I think it's
Like that's
Oh, no, it's
beautiful.
hilarious.
fantastic.
You're giving me ideas for my Van Damme themed cafe where you can order the mussels from Brussels.
There is no way that doesn't already exist.
That's true.
Why? I've got
Somebody
my Harry Potter.
somewhere,
I've got
yeah.
my Dune stuff in mind where I want to order a chai hulud and
Oh, wow.
have boy man size and all that stuff. If you read the
The
book.
boy man size. Yeah, nice.
What would the drink muscles from Brussels be?
No, that would be like
Actual
a dish.
muscles.
I want it to be actual muscles,
yeah,
yes.
muscles.
But no, there
Like
should be a drink
actual
too.
muscles.
Muscles
from
It
Brussels.
would have to be something that packs a punch.
Yeah.
Some
Or has a
espresso.
kick.
I was thinking
Has
espresso.
espresso.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, yeah.
It'd be like some herbal thing with like
Yeah.
the Time Cop with THY.
Well, if it was Time Cop specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then,
But they've got my Harry Potter thing with the house cup or whatever, and like espresso patronum and all this.
Oh,
I
okay.
see what you're saying.
I see where you're going now.
Yeah.
we went
So
to.
I have my ideas that I'm never going to use.
You can put them
but
into
they're-
a book.
But they're out there in the
That's true.
universe now because everyone's listening.
Yeah, but hey, it's still copyrighted. Just because it's audio doesn't mean it's not.
Right.
You
You
still
got the
said it
idea
first,
here. And video.
Yeah,
So you
actually,
get-
Starbucks started the espresso patronum thing. Apparently, I looked it up, and they
boy.
had
I
a
never
drink
heard that.
called that, and then it's gone forever. I'm like, you just wasted that idea.
Well, see,
Yeah.
they never
Right.
keep anything around for a long
Yeah.
period of time, unless it's the spiced chai, not just spiced chai, the pumpkin spice. Excuse me, that has to come around every
Every
so
That
year.
scarcity, makes it more valuable. And
I figure I could do
McRib.
it. I could do it anyway. Like Starbucks isn't a very litigious company, right?
no, neither is like Nintendo or like
If it's no
Disney.
longer available,
Disney. Yeah.
you'd think it shouldn't matter.
You would think, but someone will find a way to extract money from it.
Espresso.
Espresso. Yeah.
That was
And people
from
who know,
something.
yes, it
was
is.
Thank you.
Unbreakable Kimmy,
Kimmy
Schmidt.
Schmidt.
Thank you.
Espresso.
Because
I
of
didn't know I was
witnesses.
saying espresso wrong for so long. Like,
Yeah.
I just rewatched it. That's why it was
didn't
familiar.
know it.
Oh.
I didn't get that reference.
have you not seen Kimmy?
The Unbreakable.
Are we starting this off with an "Have you seen?" question?
This is Bing. The count's gonna be like broken by like the end of like
Oh
the
my
year
gosh.
because so many times I ask him, "Have you seen this?" It's like, "No, I haven't seen it," and everything.
But the one thing that we always have all seen, sorry, let me try that again. The one movie that all of us have seen and all appreciate equally is Fifth Element.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The perfect movie.
It is the perfect
Right.
movie.
Mhm.
It is absolutely perfect.
And let's get it started off a good note. So Fifth Element's a good way to start that. We love that movie, and we are Bards and Balladeers, and that doesn't connect at all. So we're just gonna go with it. So
Yeah,
we're
true.
here today with Amanda Meuwissen, our wonderful guest. She's an author. And just for the introductions, we are Oscar, Rio, and Kate of Bards and Balladeers, and we got a fourth balladeer bard. You can choose which one.
Oh, Bard, all
Yeah.
the way.
Always Bard,
Also one of
right?
my favorite D&D classes.
Yeah.
So
He's a balladeer. 'cause
I'm a balladeer.
Bard.
No, that
And they
makes
wouldn't let me put horns on,
Oh, how about for
Yeah.
Halloween?
Have a Halloween.
You just save it.
Never.
For,
which is
Yeah.
in a few weeks.
I'm only policing whether you put them on your head, as long as they're not visible on camera.
You don't even know if I'm wearing pants right now. I mean, look.
That's true.
He's not.
I'm not. You're welcome, everyone.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
All of us, yeah,
All-
we're welcome. Yes, we're
you're
very
welcome.
welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to what?
jungle.
Welcome to the treat.
Wow. Wow.
That does fit.
He says that to you every night, doesn't he?
And it's
Every
always
night.
just this eye roll. Jesus.
I was saying, making that kind of a joke actually works really well with the type of things that I write.
It's
So
true.
does Fifth Element. No,
Well, maybe.
Ruby Rod maybe.
Oh, I mean, oh yeah.
There's
I mean,
sex
one
at
of
the
the
end
best
of Fifth
characters.
Element.
Yeah.
That's
Fifth
true.
Element,
That's
yeah.
true. That's not all I write.
No. But you are an MM romance author, correct? majority, but you do write other things.
So for those of us, for those who don't use the terminology, romance
I was going to jump
stands
into
Perfect.
gay romance, MM as in male, man. I know not everybody knows.
It's not Mecca.
No.
I'm out of here.
I'm sure that
Voltron shirt.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
But he looks a little lonely there.
If you would ever doubt that something exists written about, trust me, it does.
I'm
It
sure,
absolutely does.
Well, that's kind of like Mecha Furry. Is that what that would be like? It depends.
Oh, look, he's fighting a robo breast. I mean, beast.
But yes, I do occasionally like step out. Like I also do, queer fiction that's not just MM because I do stuff that can go into like non-binary categories. And I have one book that I don't classify as romance, but I still feel like there's always little imprints of queer identity in the stuff that I write.
Is that Life as a Teenage Vampire?
No, because that one's also queer romance. It's a gay romance, but it's just young adult. The one that's not romance at all is The Collector, which was our first ever prototype book. Sure. My first ever back in 2012, which the original cover, I should have brought that one actually to show up.
I probably have
You probably have an original copy.
Yeah. It's worth like $4.
Yeah, honestly, probably
priceless.
But they're no longer available, other than like the copies that we would own, and other people who've bought it. But I had recently recovered that one to sort of celebrate. I think it actually turned 13. Yeah, it turned 13 because it was 2012.
This is only worth $4 because the pages are stuck together.
Again, that's the non-romantic. Well, I don't know what he's into, I guess.
Wait, is it the shadow or is it him?
I mean, it could be.
So that's a good segue, though.
So halfway serious question. Like you said, quick question. You said male romance and also non-binary. Are there any women in any of your books? Or I assumed that there were, but it just the way it was phrased was like,
It just more so means like the romantic leads are always going to be either two men or somebody who's non-binary and another man, or some combination of the above.
I didn't know if there was any woman or anything like that.
No, but I absolutely want to. No, I mean, that is absolutely a question I get asked all the time. Because there'll always be somebody who's like, do you have any sapphic romance, which is another term for female. And I don't yet, other than I did write a Dracula retelling, A Delicious Descent, where I have Mina and Lucy together, but they're not at the forefront.
Okay.
So I do give them a little bit of a moment and, they get there kind of happily ever after, but it's not the focus. But I do want to, because I always have people ask that. I just tend to relate more to male characters. So it's just not usually what I want to write. But I do have an idea percolating in my head for an FF romance. So I'll eventually do that. I don't think I'll have time to get to it until as in write it until next year for maybe a 2027 kind of release. But it's on the docket.
So slow.
I know.
So slow 6 year.
I say from my glass house.
Painted on the walls.
I'm going to say there's two segues we can go for is one, I know we actually worked together a long time ago when you started first writing and before I even had a inkling of what I was going to do with writing. And we actually worked for a publishing company with another wonderful person, Jim, out there. I know he watches. So he'll be watching this there, and we're about to pay him for that one. But because he came to you and he just had the idea, correct? Of
no, actually, it was when I was shopping. I think it was Incubus, actually. I think it was Incubus, not Collector. Yeah, because Collector came around when I wanted to just get something short out there as part of our serialization.
Yeah.
But I was trying to shop my original book around Incubus to any publisher I could. They always tell you, right? Send out 1 million query letters. And I was. And Jim was one just starting out. The site even hadn't really opened yet with his idea. But he actually got back to me and we started talking, and he had accepted my submission. And when I realized he was just on the ground floor of it, I said, well, if you need any help with editing, I actually have a lot of experience with that. And long story short, I ended up being the managing editor. And so I would be the submission editor. I would go through things with it. And it then gave me the opportunity to slowly publish my works on it too. But it was specifically a serialized site where we were trying to think of it like the Netflix of books, where, I guess Netflix doesn't always do things weekly on certain days, but some things they do. Mm-hmm. But on a Sunday, it would be a new episode or chapter of these various books, and so on and so forth throughout the week. And then whenever that was completed, we would turn them into published books, finished books. So it was actually a really long process too of it took full, it was written ahead of time, but it took full on years worth before you'd actually get a full story.
Sure. Yeah. But it was kind of nice to and we were hoping that people would get on the idea where they would be paying for the service, where it was just, I know who needs another subscription service. But
this was before it was oversaturated.
Sure. But it was just kind of cool because we were adding things all the time. I mean, by the end, 5 years in, we had like 78 books or something crazy like that.
I know. I personally helped edit and work on, I think it was like 61, I want to say. Okay. But I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was finished books.
Yes.
It obviously would have been more with ones that were series that maybe we didn't finish off before we ended up moving away from the publishing company.
Yeah, because fortunately the model didn't work. Just kind of one of those things you try to figure out how to best make it work. And so we kind of went our separate ways, and Jim gave it back over to one of the authors.
Yeah, Jared Kwan and James. Oh, I'm so sorry, Thompson. If I blank on an easy last name.
New name is James. Oh, I'm so sorry, Thompson.
It's a great name. I'm sorry. But no, it actually is a nonprofit now, and they're trying to do something a little different with it. One of the many other hats I wear is I'm on the board for Big World Network. It's kind of fun being someone who was, part of what lifted it off its feet. The original model we wanted to do maybe didn't work out as well, but now we're trying to use it for educational purposes too, to like help with aspiring writers. And, hopefully it'll be something really cool where even though I went off and did my own thing with publishing, I would not have all the books I do we were already friends, but I wouldn't have so many other friendships if not for it.
Exactly. But the other thing I wanted to just kind of tie into is the idea of how you relate and the reasons why you actually decided to do male-male romance, and like the idea of being female writing a male character, and just like what gives you the right? No, it's like why that was more natural to you, or why, you choose to do it that way,
Because, sorry, just to add more context too, because we all have sort of dabbled with that conversation before, but we were kind of really eager to pick your brain on it too, because we all have, I think, primary characters that we love writing that are the opposite gender that we are. And so to get your take on it too, just want to add a little bit.
No, absolutely.
Probably have an episode on that at some point.
Yeah.
Well, and it was so true that was the question I got asked the most, especially early on. Now it's like people just kind of know me, especially locally at cons. It's like people know me, so I don't get asked that question as much. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's because so much queer stuff is more in people's faces that people don't ask me that question as much. But it used to be the biggest question, really? Why are you writing gay romance? And it's one of those things where when I look back on my life, there's so many more reasons than I realized. Like when I think back to when I was first trying to write, I never was able to finish a story because I always felt like, well, I should be writing a main female character because I'm a girl, right? And I just could never finish one. I could never get into it. I never felt like I was relating to it. One in particular, I had set aside, this is all handwritten stuff. I'm probably 12, 13. And I looked back on it years later. I'd like dredged up these handwritten pages and I'm reading through it and I'm like, that's the problem. This chick should not exist. She doesn't need to be in there.
Right.
The connection of these characters are between these two male characters, and she's not interesting to me at all. I want to write their perspective because I just related more to them. Yeah. And once I let myself realize that's what I wanted to do, it's like then I finally started finishing stories and just coming up with more too. I was just so much more inspired because I finally realized, it's because I just don't relate to female characters that well. I have side characters that I absolutely love, but when it's who the story is about, it just needs to be male characters. And that's one of the reasons too that I've started more and more to dive into gender identity discovery for some of my books, which is why I have some non-binary stuff and not just male characters, is because I had that discovery of myself. And I think then it just made it feel more natural and more exciting to write some of those journeys because it was something that felt very personal to me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So since it's sex and everything, and I want to say purely erotica, but that's a focus of the books, and a lot of people come to your books for that. Like, there was a good way to say this. Like, how do you find like when you're writing the same things like over and over again, like trying to describe things different or like trying to get that exciting for people? Like, what's that process like?
No, I get asked that one too because it's not like you're just writing sex over and over or intimacy over and over. Sure. Sometimes it feels like certain things will lend itself to being a little similar, but I think it really comes down to the characters. Like when I'm first trying to envision like an intimate scene with them, often the characters have their own idea of how they would interact. And they just kind of lead me to these really interesting places I wouldn't have expected to go.
Like on the table?
Well, I mean, yes,
possibly.
Actually.
In erotica, I think that would be expected.
So it almost sounds like, because we consider like storytelling to have, well, Oscar, I think this was your theory first, that storytelling has sort of like three different pillars. Is that what you
with an arguable fourth, like the three pillars, like world building, plot, character. And the arguable fourth is like the method of storytelling. I guess we brought that up briefly at one point.
Yeah.
And so to me, it sounds like your favorite might be character. Okay, that's my favorite too. Because if your characters are leading you to the events of what's happening and, keeping it fresh that way, like I think that's really fun because it's not just about the world building of the world. It's about what are these characters really going to go through? Like romantically, like what will bring them together or pull them apart, I guess. Can romances actually end in like a tragedy?
Well, then it's not a romance. This is actually an argument in the romance.
Let's get into it. Let's make the internet mad. Come on.
I think like 9 out of 10 people are going to say if the romance doesn't end happy or happy for now, happily ever after or happy for now, it's not a romance.
It's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy or it's a story that has romance in it,
right,
but it's not a romance. If you're actually calling it a romance, it has to end with the couple together.
Okay.
Right, start your own category on Amazon, unfulfilled romance.
Well, that's interesting.
You'd be head of your own category,
But isn't longing also convicting too?
Oh, wow. Not if it's tragedy.
Painters love it.
Edging romance is a slow burn romance.
I used to play bass for tragic edging.
But that actually was a big issue. So one of our other author friends, Kit Berry, she had put out this queer retelling of Treasure Island. Queer retelling of Treasure Island. X marks the spot. Not a romance because the main characters that you're following aren't the ones who romantically end up together. And initially, like having it listed under romance because it felt like that was the right place to put it, people got upset. And it's like, no, can't market it as a romance because people are expecting those main characters you're following to be the ones who end up together.
Right.
So it becomes like a marketing thing. That's what romance readers have in their head. So you have to be careful to give them the expectations that they want.
Sure.
The same reason my purely erotica novel, where he doesn't end up with anybody. So I don't market it as MM romance. It's MM erotica. It can be queer fiction, but it's not. It's not a romance technically because he doesn't end up with someone.
I guess erotica. Sorry, real quick. I guess erotica is a little different because it's for that purely visceral like sex, right?
Sex at the forefront. Obviously, there can be romance. There can be connection,
pleasure.
Yeah. It just has a lot more of it because, like, just having even a detailed sex scene or 3 in something doesn't necessarily make it erotica, depending on how it works its way through the plot. But like. Last Courtesan of Olympus, my erotica novel, like the whole point of it was for me to explore doing crazy, interesting, kinky things in it. So, it's definitely, that's the point.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
I'm trying to remember what I was
saying.
It strikes again.
But like I was going to say, like you almost would feel like certain genre titles would almost be like a halfway to a spoiler. Because it's like this, well, if they don't end up together, it has to be this. And if they do, it has to be that. Like, so that kind of tells you a part of the ending, right?
Well, but a romance reader's going in knowing that. Like they're starting the book knowing I might have my heart ripped out along the way, but they are going to end up together. And if they don't, it really should be a content warning or part of something in there. Like you should know, or it shouldn't be billed as a romance. And there are some people, like I said, that will argue that point.
Right.
But I get it because
every genre spoils a little bit. Like historical fiction, it's going to be in history, but that's really a setting thing, not an outcomes thing. And so that seems like that's the first time I've heard of it where you actually almost spoil the ending a little bit with the genre header.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
I get that, but there's just so many ways you can get to that happy ending. And again, the difference between happily ever after and happy for now, which can be, it's a fine line.
Sure.
But it's the idea of like, there might be some stuff that could still cause, crap to go down here.
Right.
Like in the end, they're just hate fucking or whatever.
Hate quacking. Yeah. That's also fun censoring everybody when I had to
was going to say, I said crap and I was going to say something else. I wasn't sure.
Don't worry, whatever you say.
Banging.
Yeah, it should work. I don't see why not.
Hate clanging.
And go back to the Mecca first.
Clang, 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 clang.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Or it just keeps going and going.
It's like the second Transformers where they finally had like Devastator and then he had the big balls and they're just like clang, clang like this.
Stupid.
It's like climbing freaking the pyramids and you just,
I remember.
It was dumb. It was so stupid.
What is this in?
The second Transformers live action.
Of course, it would be live action.
Up the pyramid.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, because those movies make me sad. So sad.
That was before I knew that truck nuts was a thing that existed. And that's like the biggest example.
Whole other form.
Truck nuts went up 200% that year.
Oh my God, probably.
Profits.
Going back a little bit to what you were saying about like writing intimacy scenes like over and over again, like they each have to be different. Would you say it's kind of more akin to like, you could say, well, I'm writing dialogue over and over again. Each character has a voice. Do they have an intimate voice, do you find?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's what part of it is especially if somebody, say, has a hang up or it's a virgin character versus someone who's really experienced or someone who's had trauma and maybe can't handle certain things. Like there's just so many things that are going to dictate what makes sense. And going back to what you said about, choosing which pillar is kind of where you live and then you grow from there. For me, absolutely, it's always character, because I feel like my characters will tell me what the plot is. My characters will tell me the world they live in, and my characters will tell me what way they want to be banged. Like that's just like it all comes out.
Right.
Not to say I don't ever have writer's block where I'm like, crap, how do I come up with this? I mean, I'm not going to write a sex scene just to write a sex scene unless it's the erotica, and that's the point.
Sure, that's so different.
That is tough. That made it a challenge because it's like I know I have to have an erotic scene in every single chapter. So, and I want them to be creative, really weird and creative and unique because it's dealing with mythology. Well, I mean, you can't talk crazier, kinkier stuff than gods of various pantheons, right? Like that's they're already a little bit weird and interesting. So that helps.
What's the Zeus thing you said?
Zeus on the loose as a goose.
Literally. I bring all that up in that
Perfect.
Oh, you have to.
Quack.
Yeah.
You got to bring it up.
I guess, like I know, so it sounds like with erotica, you have to establish that intimate voice very quickly. And I know with historical fiction, if I'm trying to establish voice very quickly, it's a little bit of a cheat, but I use like dialect.
Oh, sure.
So I'm wondering what the equivalent would be for erotica.
No,
I don't mean like I don't mean verbally. I mean like, like physical things you would do that would sort of like create a sort of like voice quickly without all of the character build.
Well, I think there is certain personality traits. Like if I compare the two books that I have out in this mythology erotica series right now. So Courtesan was dealing with Greek mythology. That character is very, I am perfect. I am the god's gift to mankind. I'm amazing. He was very full of himself right from the beginning, and everything kind of lent itself to that. Versus when I started working on my Norse variation, which I can at least show that one off because I have it right here, which was new this year. I didn't want it to be like, oh, I'm literally just slapping a new coat of paint on the same book. Sure. Like that was not the purpose of doing it. I wanted to explore Norse mythology because I knew it less, but I also wanted to find a way to make it unique in and of itself, despite working his way through the gods. And he ended up being such a different character. Like it's Oli. So I think I have, this, like you have this Norwegian, Swedish kind of voice in your head too. Like when you're thinking of where they're from, that changes a lot of it too.
Sure.
And he just ended up more like sassy and like would buck up against. Not that. That is not. Yes, but I meant to say it in a butt heads kind of way. But that's what came out.
Brought up against.
But yes, against the guys too. But yeah, it just like they kind of lent themselves to a different story. They knew their stories were going to be different, and it made it a lot easier to immediately have a different voice, even from like the prologues of them. And I think that starts in really knowing who your character is before you even start to write.
Sure,
I'm a note taker. Like before I do anything, I wouldn't say outlines necessarily. They're kind of like outlines, but they grow as I write and they get changed as I write. But I absolutely am very much a bio person. I will write down, name, hair color, what is occupation or whatever it may be. Little things about how their body structure is different than maybe the other character. Like, a more slender character is going to act differently than a, buffer kind of character.
Yeah, a lot of my characters started out as character sheets because they were based on a role-playing game I ran. Yeah. So that gives me a little bit, like a detail that it's not through an outline, but it functions similarly.
I used to collect so many of the role-playing games that I didn't even necessarily get a chance to play, like the ones I played, like D&D and Vampire the Masquerade. But then I still bought like Werewolf and all these other White Wolf ones.
I have like 27 different game systems.
So many.
I got to play like
half the time just for character sheets. Because, it's fun. You get to dive into different magic systems. And well, what does having an 18 charisma and an 8 intelligence mean for this character? Like if people are trying, I mean, yes, literally, that's what it is. That is your equivalent of a himbo.
Yeah.
But that's like just such a great way for people to learn how to start to create characters, is because like the model and method for fully fleshing out a character is so easily found in those type of character sheets and player handbooks and stuff. I don't really use them anymore, but that's why I collected so many.
Yeah, I was on a panel a while ago, like, a planner or a pantser. And I said, I think I'm kind of halfway, like half and half. And then I realized that was totally nonsense. And I'm a planner. It's just that the plan, like the outline for the first book and a half I did was largely covered by my game notes.
Sure.
Oh, sure.
Once those ran out, I'm like, no, I'm a planner. I gotta do some outlining.
I take that back. Yeah.
I do know that you're a pantser because pants be falling down.
Damn. No one has ever said that before, and I've never thought that, but that's perfect.
I don't know why it's the first thing I thought of, but
It is true that I definitely am a little bit of both, but I always thought I was more of a mix, and I am more of a planner in the long run. Where the pantster stuff comes in, besides when someone's losing them, is those moments when a character changes the trajectory and kind of unexpectedly. Yeah. And that does happen where it's like, I think I know what I'm going to be doing with a character. And then it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing that instead. And then then I have to go back and rearrange a whole bunch of things and add a scene here. And you never know what might change.
I think it's come up a couple times on this podcast that Gore Verbinski, the director for the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, he would said something in a commentary about like storyboarding. You don't want to over storyboard something, or else you neuter the possibility for happy accidents.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful quote.
Yeah. It's a really good, I recommend anyone who's like a story nerd watch that commentary because it's really good.
Specifically on the first Pirates?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knew I recognized that
I don't
name.
think I can get through the other ones. Like
take that out. Do you stop that? No, the third one is fine.
The first is the best.
It is.
But I do have love for at least the first three.
The first one, I watched it again recently being probably like 6 months ago. And it's so good. It's so good.
Because there's original and fresh and there's something, but then it's just like rehash, right. Unfortunately, some of the even some of the jokes in there are the same. It's just like coming at from different points, And
I have a question about that movie. Do you guys think Elizabeth or Jack are actually the main character?
I'd say
Will?
Not Will.
I personally don't think, but I'd love to hear the defense of it. Not defense. It's not a debate. I'm just curious. We've never asked this question.
I'd say it's Jack, but that they tried briefly to experiment with making her the main character. And it didn't work.
I'd say the opposite.
Yeah, me too.
I'd say Elizabeth is the main character with Will kind of as her little background boy,
Sure.
And Jack was just so kind of, he has to be a side character.
He's the catalyst.
I was going to say the mentor. Okay. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
But when you try to make him the forefront, then it all becomes about the silliness and you no longer have the same heart you're supposed to have for a story.
Sure.
So I feel like it's actually the opposite. The more he became the main character, the more the movies fell apart.
And it became really silly and ridiculous. Yeah. But also it's one of those things where it's like a three-headed dragon almost, where it's just like you need every part. But whenever like somebody's in the forefront, it's their story then. Like anytime, when Jack was lost in the World's End or whatever it was all about him when
Davy Jones' locker.
Yes. Sure.
This brings up something interesting that I never really thought about.
No, you're perfect. Yeah.
But I never thought of it this way. And maybe this is a romance thing, but in some of my books, maybe I would say there's like one main character, but generally speaking, because I'm writing romance, they are the two main characters.
Yeah.
And often in romance, what's the most popular is to do dual narrative. Like one chapter or one segment, you're in the voice of one character and then you switch and you alternate back and forth. And that can be true whether it's first person or third person. It's just perspective.
Yeah. And in music, you see it in duets all the time.
Yeah.
The back and forth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think it's less true in non-romance? Do you think there's usually a singular main character?
I mean, I have 3 in my first book and I add 2 main characters in my second book. So
it becomes a crew, right?
I mean, the rest of the crew is they're all secondary characters, but main characters, like it goes back to how you define the main character. And to me, it's, a character that you really focus on, you get into their motivations, you get into their development, kind of from an internal perspective.
Sure. But I would argue something like, Star Trek or Firefly, any of these things where you have a crew, each one of them becomes the main character depending on who the story is about, though.
Right.
It's an ensemble cast.
An ensemble cast. Yeah. But even though, like, you can look at Star Trek Next Gen, you can say Picard is the main character because he's the captain.
But no, I wouldn't.
But no one
would say Barclay is the main character.
Barclay is the main
favorite character, so you shush.
He's a beloved recurring secondary character.
But he is the main character in those episodes, though. That's
in those
he's
episodes.
Not part of the main crew.
But if you're saying Star Trek main characters, they're the ones who are there kind of all the time.
Fair.
But they're all part of the crew. The Enterprise doesn't work if they're not all there.
Part of the crew.
We need Ensign Ricky, who's going to die this episode.
I was going to say, would you count the original Lower Decks episode as in the live action?
Oh, sure.
You know, when they literally called an episode of Next Gen Lower Decks, they need all those people, but would you consider any of them a main character? No, because they were only
again
they were featured in that episode. Yes, they were the main characters of that episode.
But if you never saw any other Star Trek, and
you could watch it by itself,
and because it's episodic, right? And that's what I love about episodic, stuff is that you can just pick it up wherever you are and get a full story because you watched Inner Light,
Tear me apart.
Sorry. So many of these.
Inner Light, and then also watching
Lessons.
Lessons. Is that what it was?
Which
apparently are
where he is the girl. Where the girl comes with the piano and starts playing, and he pulls out his flute and he starts playing. So those two tied together.
Oh, Inner Light is the light one, and then Lessons is the other one. Okay, that's why I was confusing myself. I'm not good with the titles.
No, that's okay. She is.
Yes.
She is, but she's also secondary because in that episode that she's in, like she doesn't learn a lesson. She doesn't have something that comes full circle.
She's a catalyst for Picard.
Right. Right.
Who's the main character?
Picard.
In that one,
I was
yes.
just checking. I was making sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that one, and in Inner Light. Yeah.
That made me think of another question, though. Is someone not a main character if they don't have a character arc? And of course, some people would argue you can have a character arc where you end up back where you began. That still can be an arc.
Because you have to learn something, or you just
I kind of want to do a whole episode on what designates main and secondary characters, because that's a good point. Like the dude in The Big Lebowski doesn't really grow. Right? There's no character development.
Doesn't at all. Not to any of them.
And I think that's kind of the point.
No, I think
to me it was always like, what would this movie is about? What would happen if you tried to make a complete loser be the hero? Spoilers, he would just kind of
stay a loser,
reject that role and stay a loser. But hijinks would ensue as people tried to force him into that role.
Right.
Oh, that's right. I'd seen somebody too call out what that archetype is. It's refusing the call is the hero that doesn't want to be the hero.
The non-hero.
Just leave me alone, man.
Just trying to live my life.
I never realized that one of the options could be them to refuse a call, and also nothing can force them into it. I can't think of an example.
Well, the Big Lebowski.
Oh, sure.
Technically he's forced into it, but at the end, he's still the same person he was at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
So does he have a character arc? I mean, they try to force him into it, but he still just ends up the same person.
Is it a satisfying story? Sorry, I have not seen it.
It's hard.
That depends who you ask.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
It's worth watching. It is the weirdest ending. You can't say it without giving it away.
Okay.
No movie ends like this movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't think of another movie that ends like that.
I hate to be saying that, but it's just one of those things where they put it out there because experimentation. Who knows? They just were trying to do this story, and how it worked.
It does have a definite structure of beginning, middle, ending. In the way that a circle can come back to the start.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just never leave a starting line. It's just there the whole time.
The adventure happens, so it is the circle.
Yes.
But
Right.
And usually I'm that person too who wants, I can't always follow the journey makes it worth it. I want an ending that's satisfying, not necessarily happy, but satisfying.
We talked about that too.
Yeah. Just because Donnie Darko is always the example where my husband was afraid to show it to me because he thought I wouldn't like it because it doesn't have a traditionally happy ending, but it has an earned correct ending for what the story is. And so it felt right to me.
Yeah. The Butterfly Effect also has, I think, a very satisfying ending.
I love that movie actually.
But yeah.
Which one of the two endings? Because were there two?
Did I watch both?
Because there's one where he goes back and then scares her off, right? And then
that's the one I was thinking.
Yeah. So there's another one of the director's cut or whatever, not director's cut, but the alternate ending where he goes back into where he's in the womb of his mother and wraps umbilical cord around him and kills himself.
No, I did.
I'm just like, my God.
I think that would be. I'm just like, no, I'm not down with that one.
Yeah.
But
that's like the Fly ending where the butterfly baby flies off and all that stuff. That's just not.
I do like the alternate Army of Darkness ending. It's just doing the eyedroppers to get him back to the right time, and something just he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, gets distracted. 4, 5.
No. I haven't watched those in so long. I want to.
It was like the European ending or something.
Sometimes they get better endings than us. And it's really not fair.
Yeah.
What is it? Descent? Isn't that another one where it's
The
different?
Descent,
Yeah.
And I originally saw it when I was over there and when it came out.
Yeah.
So it was so weird to me when it finally came to the States and I watched again. I'm like, I'm in the theater going, that's not how it is. What the hell's going on?
Which
I saw this a year ago.
One?
I think
where she's still there, or where she's
the American one is the one where they try to keep it ambiguous, happy ending, and the European one is the bleak ending.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I'd say that's pretty typical, because you get your focus group American audiences, and then they want a happy ending. And
sure.
In that case, it was not the accurate choice, and also the canon ending obviously is the European ending because then they made the sequel.
Right. Oh. Well, then that just fixes everything, you know.
Yeah.
Do I?
Well. Does horror more often have like ambiguous or less like, well, they're satisfying endings usually, but not in like a happy way, right?
I definitely would say there's more. It's more often in horror because it's allowed. You're going in expecting it to be some visceral, either disturbing or sad or whatever kind of experience. Mm-hmm. So it's more forgivable and allowed to have sometimes a negative ending, and sometimes you want that. I mean, how often have you cheered on the killer in movies? I mean, I certainly do in some.
Sure, it depends, especially if they're anti-heroes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it's a function of, like the Friday the 13th movies or how just the Arkham, like Lovecraft books, and like horror seems full of endings that are basically inherently cliffhangers. Like you could easily put something after this, like the evil isn't gone, like there's just another round or something like that.
Well, they can't kill off their franchise. Like, they're going to have to think of a new bad guy.
But it's specific to horror. Like, I mean, I know. Could,
But I think that was a trope started somewhere where it's just like, no, the killer always opens his eyes. He's not dead and cuts to the credits or whatever. It's just very much this, like, you can't get rid of it because what if we make a sequel?
Well, yes, when you're thinking of it from a film perspective, but also it's not really horror if you don't feel a little unnerved at the end, in my opinion. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean, the evil's still out there, but it just often lends itself to that.
Well, but also, I mean, all the other kinds of endings, the traditionally happy endings, the main good guy characters, like they get some kind of closure and resolution and they grow from the experience. What happens when the villain wins? Do you get any of that? And maybe that's what horror is exploring with its ending.
That's what I was thinking too. Cause like how we were saying, like romance, typically like the couple gets together in some way, shape or form. Whereas like horror, it seems like villainy or evil lingers or wins, or you said it so much better just a few seconds ago. But I find this very interesting, like how genre really does set the expectation for what the reader is going to read. And I, for me, like whenever I've read books, half the time they were either like recommended to me by like other people. I've never been like genre specific. It's always been like serendipitous or like through school, where like you read Catcher in the Rye or Animal Farm because you're told to.
Classics.
If you do start that unfulfilled romance, if you start that unfulfilled romance genre, you get to dictate what the ending for that whole genre tends to be.
I like this concept. So one thing that's been very popular lately, at least in my specific genre, is both anthologies and multi-author collaborations.
Okay.
So we're either writing a bunch of short stories into one book, or we're all writing an individual book. Might be connected, might just be thematically connected, not same universe, but they're full books. Mm-hmm. That would be an interesting premise for a series, I think, where it's like, we're telling you up front, this is not necessarily going to end the way you expect. You have to read it to find out what happens. Like, I would want to probably test the waters with an anthology rather than full books. Yeah. But I think that could be interesting. I think there'd be a market for that. But again, I know it defeats the purpose, but that spoiler of them knowing maybe not knowing, it's for sure going to be a bad ending, but we're not promising you happy endings.
That's what I was going to say. Or just it should be a satisfied ending. Like you said.
Yes.
That's all that matters. Like we were talking about The Mist the other day. Like
such a satisfying ending. Love that movie.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like a model of like 8 stars orbiting each other where it's like they're all at equal distance. They all kind of close in and then they all kind of.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. I have seen those.
Love that.
I'm thinking of if you had everyone doing a separate book and no one gets together with the person they're supposed to get together in their own book, but they get together with someone in one of the other books.
Oh, all right, you're blowing my mind right now. I love this idea. I'm glad this is recorded.
Yeah.
Like,
that is a great idea.
I'm fine with you taking it, but the other two would have to sign off on it too.
All you have to do is like inspired by Bards and Balladeers.
Oh, I would absolutely.
Or we just get to write 3 of those books.
I mean, that too. I mean,
it's true.
Just put us up. We need to work.
Well, to me, that almost tells me what would be really cool to do with something like that. You do it as an anthology, and then the authors who wrote the characters that get together are dual authors on a novel. Mm-hmm. Like they work together to write the novel that gives the happy ending.
Yep.
Right.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
That would be also another topic for you guys at some point is, dual author writing.
I mean, we could totally talk about that. I don't know what that's like.
I barely dip my toes in it myself,
I've had
but it's
my own
something
challenges
I want.
with the collaborations, but
what are you saying? You don't like this? Aren't you having fun?
This is a different kind of collaboration than writing. Writing is.
It is,
This is like improv almost.
Yes.
It kind of is. It's like an ongoing panel.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Which is kind of what I like about it.
Yeah.
That's one of many things.
Panel online instead of offline. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I was going to ask you too. So I know that in both Last Coruscant of Olympus and your newest one, Last Thrall of Asgard, you have content warnings.
Yes.
Is that what would you call it?
Yeah.
Like, and why did you did that? Because you just were worried about the way people might get into it and it might hurt them, or like, what was that?
Yeah, well, I'm exploring much kinkier things than I normally have. I say content warnings rather than trigger warnings because to me, it's content that wouldn't necessarily be triggering, but that you maybe want to know because you'd want to avoid it. I feel like that's a more accurate way to put it. I don't usually on my books because I feel like for most of my titles, you look at the, what's written on the tin and you're like, okay, I know what I'm expecting here. Mm-hmm. But with this one, it's like, I can't summarize what it goes into. So like, I'm not going to read them obviously, but I'll show how long that page looks.
I was like,
I know this one I have so many people know Greek mythology in my Norse one, since people generally you're not as familiar with the Norse mythology. It's just true. Mm-hmm. We don't have as much, source material of it that you really can know as much. And so I have a glossary and a map in this one. But like I did a full page. I mean, you probably can't even tell there are words on there.
Zoom in.
But like it's a full page where I'm just listing, the entirety of this book contains, boom.
Yeah.
And I did it specifically with this, because I thought I'm exploring some things that aren't typical of how I write romance. So if you're going in knowing me, you wouldn't necessarily know this. And I think I explore some things that maybe not every erotic book might too. Yeah. And then with this one too, I decided every chapter, I also say just that specific chapters, which I normally wouldn't cut it up that way. But I thought that way, since it is and is not episodic, because there is a through line, plot line, especially for the new one, because the new one does have a romance in it. But that way, if there's something like, I just really don't want to read that, a person could choose to do that.
Sure.
And I've occasionally gotten someone who said, oh, you didn't need to do that. Oh, it broke up the flow, blah, blah, blah. But most people have said they were glad that I did it.
Didn't that one person also say it's like, it got me excited, so I knew
it's true. The shopping list was what people said.
That's great.
It's like just negative reviews for some people are also like marketing points.
I know, yeah.
It's like, oh, this was terrible. It had way too much of this kind of stuff. And you're like, ooh, really?
Ooh, thanks.
Oh, no. For me,
that is its own marketing.
But I know that also just so my line editor for my second book wrote time travel erotica comedy. It's called Time Bangers. It's exactly like it sounds.
Oh, I think I remember you mentioning that before.
Yeah. And, I've boothed with her before, but like there's a difference because people can just like approach my stuff. But with her stuff, she said, well, there's kind of consent issues when you write erotica, or romance, whatever. It's really all about expectations. Little kids are coming up. You don't necessarily want them like, oh, what's this about? have a piece of candy. This book's not for you. That would be her kind of approach.
This isn't Time Bandits.
But I would imagine that even within the romance or erotica genres, there are those same issues of this is what you generally expect, but this goes beyond that.
Correct. And that's why people appreciate certain things. I mean, you're never going to know. It's not going to be palatable for everybody.
Right.
But certain things are kind of common sense. I should probably warn this. And yeah, admittedly, it was partially a way to market it. I mean, my most, not viral, but my most successful TikTok was the one where I said, what makes this the most forbidden? I think I just said MM book of the year because I didn't want to say romance.
Sure.
And then I just listed them all in the video, and I forget how many it's at. But I mean,
it was like the happy fun ball warning.
I mean, this is like, and then it's like really happy, ridiculous music. To show off. Yeah.
Consult your doctor if you have any of these symptoms.
That would also be a good marketing tactic, right?
This particular kink may result in erectile dysfunction.
Swollen testicles.
Well, and you can never guess what someone might not like. But I just felt like it made sense for that one. And it was also just fun being like, what all can I do? Like I actually, with the research for those books, I had to actually write. I looked up on like my search history is so fascinating because I had to look up
like, what is this girl doing?
Well, I have to include some unique kinks each time, or it's not an exploration in erotica if I'm not being creative.
Sure. Do you try to make them like not accurate to the time, but like more relevant to when these would be taking place?
I mean, I'm doing it like when we're saying historical fiction, this is very much like mythological fiction, but that's already
ancient world kind of mythology.
Yeah, because I absolutely like deep dive research into the mythology. Greek was easier because I already knew it very well, but I still was like some of the Zeus stuff that I didn't know, diving into all that. Like I wanted to bring all that up and make it accurate, but I also wasn't going to, bend over backwards to do, well, they'd never use that particular language. Like that's not the point.
Sure.
It's supposed to be, it's not supposed to be historically accurate. It's supposed to be fun, but I would still look up like what is, a view from the top of this particular mountain if they were here, what?
Gotcha.
I'm still going to do do that.
Yeah, because you know that Zeus banged someone on the top of that.
Exactly.
On top of everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
On top of Old Smoky even.
Well, it's like I use a bathhouse type of thing in the Asgard one. What would an actual bathhouse look like during that time? Sure. Yes, I do that kind of research.
I like that,
sure.
But, I'm not trying to get the language down. The one thing that's really cool is I have an audiobook for this one, and the main narrator, since it's from Oli's perspective, he put a little Norse accent on there, which I had told him, I'm like, if you think you can do this where it won't sound silly, go ahead. If you think it's not working, feel free to just do a normal American accent for this. Sure. And he took the risk with it. And when I was first listening, I'm like, is this dumb? I think it kind of works. And I ended up really loving it. Like it just, I don't know, it just somehow pulls you in to that sense of it being Norse more than if it had been an American kind of accent.
Is it first person perspective?
Oh yeah, this one is.
Okay. So then maybe it really adds to like you knowing Oli, and like, again, loving the character, letting the character drive everything that's happening. So I love that the narrator did that. And was able to continue it too. Because that is a struggle, I feel like, sometimes of narrating, that you start with a voice, you got to maintain the voice. And so it's worth all the money.
I have to decide ahead of time, okay, what dialect rules am I going to use for this character? You have to stick to it.
Right.
And occasionally, if you look through my second book, you will find at this point, there's one little error where Ajuban uses a TH.
How dare you?
Wait, that's too kinky. We can't do that.
Suspended belief is over. It's done.
You can duck that out. Or you can pixelate.
No, I'm going to add a...
There you go.
I want to pixelate.
Pixelate out the hands. I like that.
Wait, do that again real quick.
Everyone's paying attention. Now take that audio over that.
Oh, yeah.
Slow it way down.
Then it becomes a Kool-Aid man, and that, I mean, he's kind of sexy. He's got a big ass.
Actually, yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't even say it, because there's erotica.
There's Kool-Aid man fanfic.
Thank you, Rule 34.
Yeah.
So another question too is like, so when you're kind of having to up your game every book a little bit, but thinking about new stuff, but did you ever where it's almost like that Dragon Ball Z thing where like it's like continuous like power level like going up or anything?
Dragon Ball Z is an anime.
It's also, you better know.
Well, it's also hentai, but whatever.
Because it's still going. So in all fairness, I think people should know. That is actually one of the things, at least with this, since I probably won't. So I have Greek, I have Norse, I'm going to do Egyptian. I probably won't do another installment like that.
No Inca?
Like I have considered Japanese actually because I was a Japanese studies major. And so that would be a fun way to go in. It all depends too on success. Like if it ends up being successful enough, maybe I'll go into that route. But I tend to care more about plot driven. I'm not usually the erotica driven person. I've just had a lot of fun with these. But the only way I think it made it work is they had to all be different. So first one, Why Choose, which is like, people don't like to use this term anymore, but the term was reverse harem. So, the idea was there was, the harem where it's one guy and a bunch of ladies, and then a reverse harem was one lady and a bunch of guys. Still works with the guys and a bunch of guys, but they don't choose anybody. So that's why it's Why Choose is now the term people prefer.
That's sort of Madeline Kahn in History of the World.
I mean, yeah, there you go.
No. Yes.
But that's kind of the idea where it's like he is with everybody, but he doesn't end up with anybody romantically. Yeah. Whereas in the new one, there's this through line of Loki and him. And this isn't a spoiler because it's, right from the beginning. It's a through line of him and Loki having a romance. That's one thing that's different in the original book. Ikos is the main character of the Greek one. It's all first person from his perspective. In the new one, it's Oli, and then it will occasionally switch to Loki's first person point of view as well. Because I wanted it to be a romance, so I switched how I told that story. So that helped change up too how the erotica scenes played out, because Oli is often distracted because he's thinking of Loki.
Gotcha.
And this won't be a spoiler either, but my eventually Egyptian one, the way I want to make it different is, okay, well, I've had him not be with anybody and I've had him choose a god. What's the next way for a character going through the pantheon to end up? He's not going to end up with any of them, but it's a romance with a human lover who has died. And he's going to be working his way through the gods who are trying to test him to see whether he's worthy of the love he wants back.
Yeah.
And that way, I think that's the only way I could have done it. Otherwise, it very much would have been paint by numbers.
Sure.
And I didn't want that.
Good for you.
The plot itself had to be something different. And then, again, Kit Berry, good friend of ours too, she coined plot erotica, which is exactly, it sneaks in there even when I'm like, I'm just going to make this fun and smutty. Nope, like it ended up having plot anyway.
Well, last week I coined the term choreographer, so.
What was that in the context?
What is that?
I don't remember what we were talking about. The person who
that's hilarious.
The person who basically orchestrates like the physicality of sex scenes in porn or whatever.
Well, they probably have their own term,
it's like
but I like
sex
that.
Consultant. Like it's like it is a intimacy, not choreographer.
Choreographer.
I won't.
I won't name them because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I do have a friend who works in the sex industry as writing plots and scripts and stuff. Mm-hmm. They would know the answer to that question if there's an actual term for who.
Well, now they're going to change it.
Yeah, like honestly, this should be the shorthand.
That should be. That absolutely should be.
It's true.
Huh.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to say
that. Proprio's brain. That's the end right there.
I was going to say with your Loki one, does the back copy call it a low-key romance?
Jesus.
But it is not Loki.
I love it.
So.
Great. Yeah.
Has to have a hyphen in it.
Has anybody ever...
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah, Loki. Like Spider-Man. Has anybody ever come back to you... I mean, I guess this would be kind of weird, like reached out to you and just like thanked you for your books for like helping them in any way or like that? Because I always wondered like if anybody came like just helped in the bedroom with me and my husband or my other partner or whatever.
You don't get that as much as a published author, but fan fiction, yes. I think it's because it's more anonymous because you're online, right? Sure. And you have a handle rather than your real name. But I absolutely would get much more interesting comments in my fan fiction days because I think people feel a little bit more free with it.
Sure.
And I can tell anybody this, nothing can offend me. Nothing can make me uncomfortable. You can like ask me any question ever and I'll just be like, okay. And people always preface that in like panels and stuff. Well, I don't want to make you feel awkward, or afterwards, did that make you feel awkward? No. You know what I do for a living? No.
Awkwardness disappeared halfway through my second book.
I mean, you just don't feel it anymore. Well, it's the same with narration actually. So I've narrated quite a few of my books And it was weird at first because one, you're hearing your own voice so much.
Right.
But two, it's like, okay, but I'm narrating sex scenes. There is nothing weird about that for me now. Also, I don't know if you've experienced this doing narration. I don't know if you do any narration. Do you do any?
I just narrate my actual sex life.
Well, that's a whole other genre.
That's a whole other canon. Sorry, I got to put some warnings on that one.
Or in all seriousness, listening to this, like I don't hear my voice differently in my own head anymore. Like what?
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like how I sound and how I will hear myself on this is the same because I've heard it so much recorded.
What helped me with that, honestly, was WhatsApp. My WhatsApp recorded voice sounds to me exactly like I hear myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because it's training. Like, because I can't tell you.
Training your ear, you mean?
Yeah, because I can't tell you how long I hated hearing my voice.
I think that's true for most people. Yeah.
And then like just doing the audio like I did for my first book, it's just like, okay. That's how I sound. Like, it's just.
Well, I think it's just the connection.
Yeah, that's mostly it.
Yeah. Your brain kind of connects the dots between the inner sound and the exterior sound. And it's just like, no, that's the same. It was minor enough where, it trains you to think it's
inside matches the outside.
But yeah, like I've not actually written any sex scenes. I've like a little tiny bit of romance, no spoilers or anything, but it's basically a little bit of making out,
But someone kissed.
Someone kissed the boat.
I don't believe that I did. It was that big. Yeah.
Dang it,
and their lips.
Sorry. I kissed the bilge pump.
No, that's a Chuck Tingle book in the making.
Yeah.
Because the immediate disgust.
Yeah. Don't
even as you're saying.
I gotta go.
I have to say that in a sexy voice.
No, please don't.
The bilge pump overfloweth.
No, we're gonna edit that out.
Pumpeth every hour.
What else? And then now they're broken.
Yeah.
So I was curious, like real quick, how long have you wanted to write? Like how long? I mean, we talked a little bit about your backstory, like you guys meeting and everything, but like how did you arrive there? What at first inspired you to want to be a writer at all? And I mean, maybe a little bit like how did you pick? You're mostly indie, right? Or have you?
Oh yeah, now I am.
Okay.
I wasn't initially. I was I was the little indie publisher that we were part of that we mentioned. Then I was very much traditionally published through gay romance specific publishers, but traditionally published. I became hybrid anytime that they would reject a manuscript, usually because it wasn't romance focused enough, because I would go off and do, like, I have one that's very much adventure. Adventure party with romance, and they want the romance more at the forefront.
They don't want the erotica side quest thing.
Well, or the part where nobody's kissing anybody. What? Right. It's just adventure. Like, they didn't want that because that's not their focus.
You build up to this, like, the sex. That's what I don't get. Like,
but that's why then at first I turned to different publishers, and then I eventually was like, I can do this myself. I know how to do this. And the more I learned how, now it's so easy that I took all my rights back from my old publishers, and now I'm 100% self-published again. And I'm so glad. Like, I was just making so much more money. Why am I giving them anything?
Right.
Especially if I can do it all myself. Right. Like, I hire out gorgeous illustrators to do the illustrations. But if it's something like with my hardcovers or anything that's graphically designed, that I do myself.
Yeah.
And I do all my typesetting myself, all my formatting, I do all that. And so it just didn't make sense to keep using others. Like, why? I have my following. It doesn't work for everybody to do it that way, but it works for me.
Sure. But you've gotten to that point. Like, you built to that.
I mean, I've been doing this for 13 years. So I mean, it was a long process of getting up to that point.
Yeah.
So I've been publishing for 13 years. I've been a full-time author for 4. But I mean, honestly, I was writing little stories since I was little. As soon as I could write pen and paper, I was coming up with ideas, having trouble actually finishing them, sure. But I kind of was thinking I wanted to do it around like middle school. It was when I was thinking, oh, maybe I want to be an author. And then just as I was going into high school, I couldn't decide if I wanted to pursue writing or acting because I loved both of them equally. And I felt like I could be impactful with both of them. I mean, arguably in different ways, both equally difficult to be successful in.
They both focus on story and just from different angles.
Mm-hmm. It's just a different way of putting yourself out there. But what made my decision actually, and again, I will always be a huge advocate of fan fiction. Fan fiction is a great tool. It's wonderful. Do it, praise it. It's fantastic. It's great for community and helping you learn. There's just so many reasons it's wonderful. But basically, I had been reading this Final Fantasy VIII fan fiction because I'm a big nerd and I love video games and all things geek. And it was a very like deep, in-depth story dealing with somebody who was going through mental health issues and wanting to self-harm. Which is very common for fan fiction, especially if it's written like by teenagers, because they are going through those issues. Admittedly, the author of that one was older. I know she was in her 20s, not a teenager, but that doesn't mean you're not working through those issues at any age, of course.
Right. Yeah.
But I was a younger teenager, so she was probably almost 10 years older than me, but we had a great rapport with me as a reader and a reviewer. And she ended it tragically where he did die. And I was like, you can't do this. You can't end it like this. And she's like, I couldn't find another way to figure out how to give him a happy ending. Like, we couldn't find a way to make it work. And I begged her, can I try to start, like, I'll start a little early at this chapter and write a different ending. And we worked together on it. Like I wrote it, but then she'd give me feedback. And so it was with full permission by that initial author.
Sure.
It was just like 3 chapters where I changed the ending. And this was on fanfiction.net.
Is this still up?
To date, it is still up.
Wow.
This is like 2 degrees of fan fiction.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because it was fanfic of a fanfic.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
And Kevin Bacon's next.
I mean, really. But you could review anonymously. One person reviewed anonymously at the end and said how impactful it was for them that I gave him this happy ending. That for them, like they felt like they literally said like something like, I threw my razor blades away today and I'm going to try to be better. And I'm going to try to like look on the bright. I get teary. God damn it. Every time I think about it.
Just that for one person will make you feel like, oh, that was so worth it. I just broke down sobbing and I was like, I can't believe this little thing because I wanted to make a story better in my opinion. And of course the author loved it too. And it's not like it was a huge fanfic by any means, but at the time it felt so important. And I just walked away from that going, that made my decision for me.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to do. I felt like I could do that more than I could do the acting, even though I had a similar experience with acting to some extent where like we were doing Steel Magnolias and it was right after my dad's dad, my grandfather had passed away. And if you know Steel Magnolias, it's a mother who loses her daughter eventually. And I was playing the mother, Sally Field in the movie. And my dad told me afterwards that I made him cry. Like that also was an kind of almost equally kind of moment. But no, the fan fiction one, that person saying that, knowing that I touched someone like that made all the difference.
Stranger, someone just
I have no idea, anything about them. I don't know what happened to them after that because they were anonymous. Like there's no way I can ever know what happened to them, but it affected me so much. I couldn't have done anything else after that. And I never hesitated or changed my mind.
It surprises me how many people who do acting move to some more behind the scenes part of it. Like they'll move to directing or writing or something where they feel like this will be more impactful. Cause like the actor is they're at the end of the process. And a lot of them want to go toward like closer to the beginning of the process. Even
if they started as an actor, they often do. Right. Like the actor is the delivery method.
Yeah.
Right.
In a way. But yeah, something about, and actually my, so yes, I was a Japanese major, I mentioned for college, but I was actually a dual major. My other major was when I created myself. We had a program where I could do that. And I literally mixed acting, directing, creative writing, and media studies all into one. And that was what I was trying to get at. Like
sort of a storytelling degree.
Yes. It was literally creative writing for text and screen. And the whole premise of it was how stories can be told differently depending on the medium and depending on where you're at in the process.
So you sort of built a major out of what I said was arguably the fourth leg of that method of telling a story.
Yes, because I dealt with plays as well. I kind of different things I did in the major. I dealt with plays and movies and all these different things with just normal narrative storytelling. And I think that really helped lay the groundwork for everything I did after that.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything with that major as far as when I needed money to get a job after college.
Right.
But it certainly helps you understand people though.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's always useful in any.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I've only been a full-time author for 4 years, but I got there evenally.
Yeah. And there's no stopping you now.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like I've seen what you've done and
the momentum just keeps going because of wonderful fans.
Honestly, you could parlay that kind of major too into a lot of jobs if you just come at it right. Like we've talked about like the focus of this podcast being story, even if it's like lawyer needs to spin a narrative, whatever, like that's how you tell a story impacts so many different actual, like, more, what's the term, like mainstream vocations.
Oh no, I think that's fair.
Sales, marketing, legal,
investment banking, whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah.
HR even.
You need these stocks.
HR,
I'm saying like even like writing procedures like that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things in the world. It's so boring.
No, they're comforting though.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, I've been
Comfort
asked
writing.
numerous times to write the procedure documents wherever I work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're probably thorough and you're like to the point and it's really well done so people can understand.
But yeah, like I'd get asked because I would usually have trained people and people would realize, oh, you don't skip steps in your explanations.
That's
You're
important.
not just doing you say this and then do these 3 other things and then you say this. Like, no, you say each step that you're doing and why.
Right. And put pictures.
Then they're like, why don't you just write the document because you're going to include all that stuff.
Right.
Automatically.
And also you know how to write.
Yeah, well,
It helps. Not everybody
so
does.
You are now voluntold.
Yeah,
to
no,
do it.
I've done that too.
Which I'm always like, sure, I can do that.
Oh, heck yeah.
That was one of the hardest lessons I learned when I was still just dealing with my corporate marketing day job and who was going to hit that microphone eventually, was realizing how few people had writing skills.
Yeah.
Like it was just, it hurt
Yes.
so badly.
Yeah. Do you have a story about that or like?
I mean, not necessarily a specific one so
Okay.
much as I think a big part of it was I was part of a very small team and we were trying to onboard or hire somebody new. And I had to be the one that was going through all the resumes. And it was just like, they all had cover letters. Well, they didn't all, but the ones that I looked at did, obviously.
Yep.
But oh my God, some of them were so terrible. And of course, we ended up bringing on a wonderful young man who did a great job. But to get to him, the amount of crap I waded through, I was like, did you not take high school classes, let alone college? Like, where are you getting these skills? And it always made me wonder. And I realized I'm that person that liked essay questions.
Well, sure.
Like, give me an essay question over the other crap any day, like all
Multiple
the way.
choice C. All the way
Like,
down.
no, because I can convince you of anything if I can write it out as an
Sure.
essay.
Yeah,
Well, I can bull quack my way through anything.
Exactly. See, I can't quack that well, so that's too good. Yeah.
I have a question, sad question in a way. What is the purpose of a cover letter for resume?
So you don't have to look at the resume.
It's like
So yeah, that's what I thought. There is none.
yeah.
I mean, really, well, honestly,
Is it like effort driven?
It depends on who's reviewing it, but at least for me, it gives me a look into their personality.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't get personality out of you just get statistics and dates and details. But how they present themselves, like, can they organize a sentence? What did they consider important to talk about themselves? That tells me something about their personality.
Okay.
And so that's what I look at. I feel like most of the time it is pointless and people either look at one and not the other, or they throw that away and they only look at this. I'm sure that's true for a lot of people. For me, if I thought, you don't know how to talk about yourself, and I was in marketing, you're not going to know how to talk about the company, I wouldn't even look at the resume. So I do think it is useful.
Sure. Okay.
But it depends on who's your submission person who's looking at it.
I like that answer though.
Yeah, it seems like it's what gets you in the door. And then once you're in the door, they have your resume to refer to for specific checkpoints.
Actually, yes, that's true. Because I wouldn't have the cover letter next to me, but I would have the resume next to me when I was doing their interview.
I have a story about like what revitalized my desire to write because, I had been working on my first thing for a while, but it was really slow and I'd left college and I was just doing my first, full-time. It was like a full-time temp gig. And I was entering the comments. I worked for one of those companies that administers those like anonymous tests. And they actually were anonymous, so we would get them and we would have to like clean up the comments that are at the end. Like if any scoring was done badly, we'd have to like manually enter that. But then we'd write in the comments and the idea is, make it look anonymous, which wasn't hard because you realize, oh my God, none of these people can write. And it wasn't some like elitist, classist, these are all blue collar people and they don't know how to write.
Oh, no.
Everything from like factory workers to FBI agents, and they can't write
correct
comments section. And even of the ones who could, like fully half of them thought you make a plural with an apostrophe S. But of the ones who could write, very few people could make it anything other than just boring and dry. And they're not trying to write a story, but even just for a comments section.
Sure.
This is bleak.
And see, what I often tell people when they come to me as like an aspiring writer, I'm like, the grammar is not the part that's going to trip me up as much. You can be taught and have other people fix grammar issues.
Right.
You can learn and improve, but you can't be taught this sort of innate storytelling. I think there's something in you, like a musician or anything else, where you need to tell a story and you know the story you want, and you might need help massaging it, but telling a story is harder to teach than grammar.
Yeah, it's the organization and selection and emphasis of like what to include, how much to emphasize it. Like just that whole process. It's sort of intuitive. Well, and I imagine that it could be taught. It's just not defined well enough for anyone to know how to teach it.
Right.
Yeah.
And since it's different for every person too. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I was gonna say, but that's even hard because like some of the things that I like about, like I didn't read a lot of books before I started writing, and it's almost like you don't want to be too influenced by the thing you're going to do either, because then it just becomes this like rehash of what you've heard or seen. I mean, everything we do is some transformation or like amalgamation of the things we've seen and done, but
you can get overwhelmed with the input.
Like if people like,
too heavily.
Right. And then people tell you like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. It's like, no, just do what you're going to do and it'll become whatever it's going to be. Like, no one should be telling you how you should write, Yeah, maybe more people will like it if you do this or that, but what story are you trying to tell, right? And
I like the phrase that Amanda said, like you might need it massaged. Right?
Yeah.
That's a very good word for that.
Well, she is a romance author.
Sure. So massaging comes into play.
Sensual,
All these words I never use.
If you want to go
be
back,
your next book for sure. Massage. He massaged his pistol. Wait, no.
That's a whole other kink that I don't even know. If we
massage.
Yeah, it's like French. One of my French characters can say.
Yeah. Let's give you a sensual massage.
No, it's not going to come back.
No,
You'll hit me
not with that.
Thanks.
I had one of those in the last episode. So.
Yeah.
It happens so
sensual massage?
And it wasn't a big thing.
Well,
that
was after we stopped recording.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
No happy ending for you, though.
Yeah.
It was all tragedy for you.
It was a fulfilling ending, though.
Now you're going to take a while to come out of the laughter to be able.
I do want to give some credit here too, because I know that you say you've got an artist for a lot of your works and everything, and they're all beautiful artwork. I mean, don't get me wrong,
all of these are different artists,
right? And
with me, right?
We can't draw, so we write. These are all wonderful, but I am going to give you so much credit.
That one's not an illustration, but still, yeah.
We'll pass that one because I want to get to this while we have time still, because you did everything on this, right?
Almost, as I smack my microphone again, almost everything. The company I used their designer for the outer dust jacket because I trusted them to know what sells and what works. But I gave them very clear instructions about kind of the themes and some examples of what I wanted. But look at the pretties.
And the binding too.
Yes, I specifically designed, these are painted edges for people who aren't familiar. I designed that. It might be hard even zoomed in to see that there's like an interlacing of a lighter color. Yeah, I have some. And then I also did the design for my end jacket end papers. That's the word, end papers. How I designed that was based on each of these symbols is based on one of the Greek gods, because this is my Greek erotic one. And I use those same symbols as the chapter headers throughout the book.
So another testament to you being able to do everything yourself, to at least find the people to get it done, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the most important thing for it.
See, now you have me wondering, you're like, what would the symbols be for all of my fake Greek gods, like Spectacles and Obstacles and Testicles. But where can we find your stuff, and what are you working on right now? Like, tell us about your works that are that you've published or that are in process.
So I have so much all the time. Oh my God. So again, it's Amanda Meuwissen. And I know that when you see that written, it's not
Mew Mew.
How you would assume. Yeah, Mew Mew, exactly. It looks like Meuwissen. It's Dutch. That's why it's pronounced so uniquely than you might expect. But if you Google me, I'm literally the only one. There's one in the Netherlands, and then I'm the only United States Amanda Meuwissen.
See, there's not even only one. There's not even only one of me.
It's close.
What do we get if we Google you?
You'll get an electrical engineer in California.
Oh, no.
And a bunch of people in Turkey. That's why I added my middle initial.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Nope, there's only one other, and she's in the Netherlands since it is Dutch.
Right.
So anything is that. AmandaMeuwissen.com, Amanda Meuwissen books I often use. My just released literally on Monday is this one. So this is one of my rare ones that isn't an illustration, but is like the model cover. And part of that is because it's a contemporary book. Resist Me Not is actually part of the Bloody Desires series. So that's one example of a multi-author collaboration where we're all writing something and they're thematically connected, but they're not like in the same universe. And this one is, we were writing serial killer daddies. So one, I have never until this book done the daddy kink. It does not mean necessarily age place stuff. If you don't know what that is, don't Google it.
That's a good warning.
It can just mean that sort of dynamic. What it generally can mean at its base version is like, yeah, you have the daddy terminology, but it's really like one isn't like dominating. It's one is the caregiver. It's like the caretaker taking care of the other. And when I wasn't as familiar with it. So when I thought of it like that, as I was talking to friends who've written it, I'm like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And then, wow, did I get into it way more than I thought I would once I had that idea. And there's other ways that these types of tropes and kinks go. That's not really what we're doing for this particular one, but they are all killers in some way, shape, or form. We all did different types. Like somebody has like a mob hitman. I have more of a vigilante Dexter-like kind of serial killer. But oh my God, did I have so much fun with this? Like, some books can take time and like pull a lot out of you, and others just flow so easy. And this one just was like, boom, it was just done before I knew it. And I couldn't believe how easily I wrote it. I had so much fun with it, and I've had great responses on it so far. And it's been selling amazingly. So far, it's actually sold better this year for its first week anyway, than Last Thrall, which I expected to blow it out of the water just because, sexy erotica stuff and my other book in that genre works so well. But no, people are really loving it, and I'm really happy with it. I don't usually do contemporary, but I love it. The other one I absolutely have to make sure I talk about is what's upcoming. So August 11th is when that book came out. September 11th, yay for me getting that date.
What happened?
Is when I know.
My parents' anniversary, obviously.
That's right. I forget about that. I do remember that.
Nothing else happened.
You don't forget that date ever.
No.
But that's when my next book is coming out, which is Zell. It is a queer, dark romance fairy tale retelling of Rapunzel. It is also part of a multi-author one. The difference with this one is it is part of a connected universe. So we're all interconnected with each other. We have cameos in each other's books. We follow a certain timeline. You absolutely can enjoy them individually, but it's even more enjoyable if you go from the beginning.
The map.
I know.
Show the map.
I made it, by the way, too. Yeah. I made this lovely map of our kingdoms, basically. We have like a main kingdom, Folkavari, and then Hallen is the neighboring kingdom. And then, can I pronounce the elven kingdom? Varinian.
Oh, no bunch of L's in it?
No.
Is there ever going to be a book where they're called kingdoms?
Oh my God. I mean, we did go some very interesting dark routes with some of this. I haven't read them all yet because we're not all done writing them yet. My book's number 2. So.
Oh,
no shit.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Well, it's down there now.
That copy is now on sale.
That's the proof copy.
It's fine.
As I drop it. But my book is number 2. So the first book is the Little Red Riding Hood one by TJ Rose. That book. Thank you for saving Zell.
$5 off.
No. Well, this is a proof copy. So I give these away for free eventually. I do have through my link tree, if you look,
I do have a question about Zell. Is it because it's a plan Rapunzel, right? Is that that's not a spoiler? Okay.
Oh no, that's not a spoiler.
I just love the name Zell because of that. I just think it's very unique, and I thought it was clever.
Well, and I thought of it myself because it just made sense. I'm also, for people who know Final Fantasy VIII, there is a character named Zell.
Yes.
He's actually the character that was the one written about as the one with mental health problems in the book.
Okay.
Not at all the reason why I chose Rapunzel when we were deciding who would do what fairy tale. Just worked out that way. But I always will Google any title idea anyway, just to see does anybody else have this title? There is just a female Rapunzel one that's a retelling that is called Zell. So there is another Zell that exists out there.
Yeah, I did that with my book True Colors, but that title was clearly not taken by anyone.
Oh yeah, never, right? No. I knew somebody else was going to have done it. I didn't have any illusions that they wouldn't. Yeah. But most of us in the series are just using the original titles. So like Little Red Riding Hood is Little Red Riding Hood. Sure. One big example that's not is instead of Hansel and Gretel, it's Hansel and Gerhardt. And they are stepbrothers, so they're not blood related, but they are the couple that ends up together for the retelling. I mean, that's a whole other thing that Amazon does not approve of.
I mean, I wonder why.
So that's a whole other thing. But yes, that series starts in September. Little Red Riding Hood comes out on the 4th. Mine's on the 11th, and then all the rest after that. I'm really excited for because I think it'll be. We hope it has some real serious legs because we had so much fun interconnecting and little nods to each other here and there and. The Evil Queen, which is in Snow White, which is the last one by Kit Berry. I'm gonna keep pimping Kit because I love Kit. Hers is last. And so, of course, the Evil Queen gets to be kind of like a hidden background figure. She I think in some of the books, she has a bit more presence, not as much in mine. But then obviously you have to deal with her in the final book.
Right.
And of course it has to be Snow White. Yeah.
You say hidden background figure and I'm thinking Waldo, but.
Not that kind of background figure, but did I not say Snow White? I meant Snow White for the last one if I didn't say it correctly. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I have. That's what I have next. What I'm working on now, honestly, mostly is I have a bunch of shorts. But yeah, I'll skip the shorts because one of the shorts I can't technically say anything about because some of these are parts of things that haven't been announced yet. Oh, that hasn't been announced yet either. Dang it. I have so many things I'm working on. I'm working on so many things that are part of collaborations or things that I can't necessarily talk about yet. So the one that I absolutely can talk about, which may or may not be next year, but I always want to mention the book that I went back to when I was a kid that I realized, why do you have a chick in it? Like, you don't need to be there. I mean, there is a female character in that book. But it was that story I went back to that was kind of my inspiration for realizing I wanted to write male characters. It's The Prodigy Project. And it's a sci-fi, which I don't have anything else that's really sci-fi other than kind of with some superhero stuff. And it's one of those, it's sat with me for so long and has been the story I've wanted to fully tell for so long. I'm nervous about getting it right.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
And so because I have other obligations and things in my queue, I keep pushing it out. But like I have the cover, I know literally everything that happens in the story too. So that is one that keeps like being pushed out that I'm excited for. I don't think there's nearly enough in the queer fiction genre of sci-fi either. And so I'm excited to do something that's a little bit more, I wouldn't quite call it hard sci-fi, but definitely more so than anything else I've done.
Very cool. Well, we just appreciate you being here.
Where can people find you online?
Just AmandaMeuwissen.com is the main one.
Got it.
But like my Linktree too, if people are familiar with Linktree, it's literally just the Linktree thing with, again, it's just my name. It's always the easiest. Everything's there. Because I have stuff on Etsy and I mean, I'm everywhere as far as Instagram, but it's my name and it's always my name. No, I'm everywhere all the time at once.
Omnipresent.
Yeah.
At the same time. But yeah.
Almost like it's omnipresent.
Dang, I missed it.
There's a reason I don't have a pseudonym because you can find me by my name wherever I might be.
Very cool. Appreciate you coming along and being a friend for so long, and doing this for us. And I just love seeing you grow and even starting off like this is one of the first ones
we
you
need
did.
to actually show it up.
Yeah, that's me. No, I'm just kidding.
But it is in the fact that he made that cover.
I did make
before
this
the
cover
tabs.
for you. I did make that cover. So.
Usually it's my husband saying he was the model for the covers. So,
Sorry, John.
But that's the original. And actually, this is one that very recently it hit. This book is 12 or 13 years old, but the third book in the trilogy hit 10 years this year. So I did like an illustrated recover of them that just came out. It's crazy to think it's been that long.
Yeah, and then 10 more. So here's to another 10 years.
Yeah.
And more than that, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for joining us in Bards and Balladeers. You're now official. We'll get you a little hat next time, You're
Is there a hat?
There might be.
Not yet.
I'll Photoshop one. That's what we should get, like a little crown.
Do all the Burger King ones, but like cross out.
If I was there, I could have picked one up.
Do they still offer them?
Yeah, they sometimes
so
like in a pushy way.
Please
Oh,
take
they
them.
want you to take them?
Yeah. Come on, guys. Like, not even for Halloween. No.
Yeah, right. No one's
Not enough of the
thinking.
kids are taking them. Adults, you take it.
I just think it would be funny if everyone's dressed in costumes and I'm just like, I got my Burger King crown on. This is how much I thought it was worth. Yeah.
It's like the teenagers that come to your door for candy.
I had it my way.
Yeah.
Hat.
But thank you. So signing off, we have
I am Kate.
I'm Rio,
I'm Oscar.
and we have Amanda Meuwissen, and we're saying goodbye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.